Howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician here, and we are working on a 2001 Ford Escort ZX2. I'm going to be replacing the cylinder head. I'm not going to send the cylinder head out. I actually found a good cylinder head that I was able to buy that came with new machine camshafts, all the bucket lifters new, valves, valve seats, all that other good stuff. All that new, so a rebuilt head. So I'm just going to be swapping cylinder heads out, head gasket, all the parts that are involved with it, new spark plugs, new coil pack, new wires, stuff like that. So this is going to be the start of a few different videos in the series on replacing the Ford 2.0 cylinder head. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I've already got my valve cover off. That's pretty straightforward. Just you're gonna have 10mm bolts all throughout here. Actually, correction, that's an 8mm bolt, and you're just gonna go around and go ahead and pull your valve cover, move your accelerator lines out of the way and all that other good stuff, and you'll be good to go. So the way that I like to work on engines when I'm pulling cylinder heads is kind of like a typewriter. I start on one side of the engine compartment and I take apart everything that I can, making a mental note myself of what comes apart and what goes where and all that other good stuff. And then I normally just lay my parts in the trunk or somewhere in the garage or something like that. But yeah, I go from right to left and then left to right and then right to left, back and forth like that basically. So I'm going to start with my air cleaner, air filter, tubings, intake tube, all the way to the intake. I'm going to get my battery out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and get my valve cover out of the way. And while I'm doing some of this stuff, I'm going to make note of nasty hoses and just cheap little things that can be replaced while I'm in there. Alright folks, so I'm going to pause it now. I'm going to go ahead and get all this out of the way, and when I come back, this will all be gone. Now, on your intake tube, you're going to have a series of vacuum lines. One goes to your brake booster, one goes down to your intake down here. Go ahead and disconnect those so you can get your intake hose completely out of the way. Okay, so now that we got our intake tube and all that out, I'm happy with the room that I have to work. I'm going to go ahead and leave the rest of the housing in here. I'm going to leave the battery disconnected and just leave that alone. I'm going to start working on disconnecting electrical connections to all my sensors and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get my coil out of here. And then I'm going to also work on getting some of these hoses and lines out of the way, especially my accelerator cables. I've already disconnected those. It's pretty simple. Just run your finger along the top, hold this closed, run your finger, and it'll pop out right here. There's a few different ways. Just play with it until you can get it out. And then this side over here, he just pops right off. And then you're going to want to get a Torx bit in order to get the bracket out so you can get this out of the way. So yeah, I'm going to work on getting that out of the way, and I'm going to work on getting our coil out of the way. Okay, now we need to remove the throttle body so we can disconnect our accelerator cable and get it out of the way. I would suggest going ahead and removing the throttle body, and then go ahead and remove that last Torx bit so you can set the throttle body somewhere safe and clean, and then just move this accelerator cable out of your way. So this is going to be 4 T30 Torx bits, and this is also going to be a T30 Torx bit in order to get that out of the way. So I'll go ahead and do that and show you what that looks like. Alright, now that we got that removed out of the way, let's go back here to our coil, because in order to get the throttle cable completely removed out of the way, you're going to need to use this bracket, and I believe this is a T40. Let me see. I actually have it right here in my pocket. Yep. So yeah, this is a T40. So you can use a T40, but in order to get in there with something, because you've got your ignition coil in the way, go ahead and get your ignition coil off of there. Alright, and so removing that coil gave me the room I needed to get into here and here to my T40. You're also going to have another one underneath here. So let's go ahead and work on getting these two out of the way, and at the same time getting the accelerator cable out of the way. Alright, so as you can see, I now got my accelerator cable just kind of set up out of the way. I've got all my electricals set up out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and work on getting my plumbing out, getting this bracket out. Now I found something. Let's see if you can see down inside of here. Okay, I found sludge. I mean, a lot of it, dude. It is clogged up. Look at this. Look at that. I touched the camera with it. Okay, somebody tried to put something inside of this system to clog it up. Obviously it's leaked somewhere before. This looks like some type of stop leak or something, so I think I may have found the culprit as to what the heck happened to this vehicle. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause it, and these look like 10 millimeters, so I'm gonna go in with my 10 millimeter. I'm gonna get this plumbing out of the way. Okay, so now that I got my plumbing off, I've got that bracket off. This is what it looks like. Now I want to show you something here. Look at this. You see inside of there? Let me see if I can get you good focus. There we go. It's melted. It's all melted inside of there. Boy, let me tell you, that's another indicator that this thing got extremely hot, that it melted the inside of the thermostat housing. So I'll save, I'm pretty sure I can save the sensors, but this thermostat housing is going to have to go and be replaced as well. The next thing I'm going to get involved with is my fuel lines. And so what I'm going to do, as you can see, our fuel line is connected here, runs down to our fuel filter right there. What I've done is I've just disconnected it here at the fuel filter. Be careful in doing so. You're going to see this little clip in there, okay? And it just fits in there. Get you a screwdriver, and as evenly as possible, take your time and work that clip out. If you break this clip, you can't just buy a clip. You got to buy another fuel line. And then from there, just unplug your fuel injectors. Pretty easy. Squeeze on both sides. Work them out. Don't fight with them too much. You don't want to break anything. And then go ahead, and looks like we've got a 7 millimeter right here, and pull your fuel line. So I'll show you that next. Alright, now you're going to have a couple Phillips head screws holding your wire harness down. Go ahead and remove those so you can manipulate your wire harness. I said you have one. You actually have one 7 millimeter here. And then you're going to have one here, and then one on the other side. And so if you remove the two screws holding this wire harness down, you can get that out of the way and get down in there to get that fuel rail removed. Alright, now that we got the fuel rail out, let's see what that looks like. We can now start working on going back over this direction and working on getting that intake out. I'm going to start with all the electrical connections first, and then work on getting the intake out. Alright folks, so to save video space and whatnot, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. We need to get the intake off. In order to do so, I need to go ahead and start working over here and in front of the engine. I need to get my alternator off. I need to go ahead and get the engine mount out of the way, which means placing the support underneath the engine to hold it. So I'll start the next video and I'll show all that. But today we got the air intake, all that out of the way, valve covers out of the way, pretty much all of our electrical is now out of the way, accelerator cables, throttle body, all that is out of the way. We also got all of our plumbing and brackets and all that stuff out of the way. So we are good to go. So I appreciate everybody coming out and watching my videos and hanging out with me. Thanks for all your support. If you have any questions, shoot me whatever question it is that you have in the comment section, whether it's on this particular vehicle or another vehicle. I'm pretty good at trading emails, keeping up with the comments and all that other good stuff. All right, guys. Well, this is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, signing off.